Hello, and welcome to another episode of the College Tracker Show, your gateway to connecting Canadian athletes and non athletes with top U.S. colleges and universities. I am Kimberly Bass, your host, and today we're spotlighting Boston University. A little bit of housekeeping before we jump in, though. If you have any questions, drop them in the Q&A box, and we will address them later on in our show. Now, joining me today and representing Boston University, I have two wonderful individuals, one with athletics, that is going to be Laura Flaherty, and with admissions is going to be Monique Robert. And I'm going to hand it over to Monique. Monique, take it away.
Thank you, Kimberly. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Monique Robert. I am a Senior Assistant Director of Admissions with Boston University. I am going to kick off our presentation by sharing a few slides with you and giving you an overview of the university. As Kimberly just mentioned, we are also joined here by Laura Flaherty. She is an Associate Director of Compliance with BU Athletics, and she'll be speaking to you in detail in just a few minutes about the recruitment process to our varsity sports teams. But first, to start off, I will give you that overview of the university in general, the academics, what students do inside and outside of the classroom, and then I'll talk to you about the application process. So to give you a definition of Boston University, we are a top-ranking, world-renowned university with rigorous academics and a diverse student body. We are a private teaching and research institution located in the heart of the city of Boston with a residential campus. We guarantee 4 years of housing and have a strong community in a very dynamic city. We offer vast opportunities for students with hands-on learning through research, cultural exchange, through global programs, and study abroad. At a glance, we have 17,000 undergraduate students. They study in 11 different undergraduate schools and colleges and faculties on our Charles River campus in over 300 different majors. Our students come from all 50 US states and over 100 different countries. And as I mentioned, we guarantee 4 years of housing. First-year students are required to live on campus. But over 80% of our students do live on campus for all 4 years. So that's about 15,000 in residence in about a mile and a half or just over 2 kilometer space down Commonwealth Avenue. Our campus is located right next to Kenmore Square, which is right back by Fenway Park, where the Boston Red Sox play baseball, and right next to the Charles River. So this beautiful space right in the heart of the city of Boston makes a wonderful place to study and spend your 4 years as an undergraduate. Even though we are a large school, the programs are small. The average class size is 30 students in over 80% of your classes. In fact, only about 4% of your classes will be 150 students or bigger. And those are paired with smaller discussion sessions that are capped at 25 students. So your student to faculty ratio is 11:1, and the degrees are incredibly flexible. You're never stuck into the courses specific to your major. You can take courses in any one of the different degree plans. You can have a minor concentration in addition to your major that's in a different division. And if you change your mind, we have a lot of academic flexibility where you're able to change your major very easily. You're not reapplying for admission to the university. You're going through what's called an inter-university transfer process to just change your major into something else after review with an advisor from that program. We have dual degrees. We also have what's called the Killishant Honors College, which is an interdisciplinary honors program that really elevates your discussion and takes into consideration all different disciplines. So philosophy and the sciences and engineering and public service and the arts into the discussion. So if you really want a very dynamic, well-rounded addition to your degree plan and a way to satisfy those general education requirements, the Killishawn Honors College can be an awesome addition to your degree. We also, as I mentioned, are a research institution. We are a member of the American Association of Universities, the AAU. It's an elite group of 65 institutions in Canada and the US devoted to research on not just the PhD or graduate level, but the undergraduate level especially. So if you're interested in research, BU is an amazing place full of many resources to really support your passion projects. We also, of course, have students who are very involved professionally while they're still undergraduates in internships in this bustling city of Boston. If you're interested in healthcare, business, law, if you're interested in engineering or civic works or the arts, really amazing places to do those internships right alongside your degree plan. So we call them internships rather than co-ops because you're doing them while you're still studying for your degree. And then of course we have many different study abroad programs. BU was one of the first schools to offer an international exchange program. So we're very good at it. We have over 70 study abroad programs in over 30 cities worldwide. So if you're looking beyond the shores of Boston for your education, BU is a really great place to look beyond those horizons. Of course, students want to know about future success after graduation. So I've included a few different statistics on this slide. One of my favorites is that BU is currently ranked number 10 for employability in the US and actually 40 worldwide. And this is a survey done for employers, of employers. So it really shows, how much people are looking to BU students for all of the skills and knowledge that they have collected during their degree plan that really do well and contribute amazingly to their professions. So we have career fairs. We invite over 600 employers to come to campus annually. We have an incredibly strong alumni base. And really a lot to offer students who put themselves out there and make the most of their time at BU, not just for the degree plan, but also network and gain that social capital while they are at the institution. And a part of the way that they do that, of course, is through a little cut off here, but through community. Our community is incredibly dynamic. They are incredibly involved on campus. We have over 400 different clubs and organizations. We're going to talk about 24 of them in just a few minutes through our varsity sports teams, but there are over 400 others that are cultural groups, academic groups. We have students from all over the world. As I mentioned earlier, 24% of our students are international students. We're number 10 on Open Doors for the most international students on a US campus. Canada is actually number 5 for students coming to BU from a country other than the US. So we have a lot of Canadian students on our campus as well, which is wonderful for all of our lovely neighbors to the north who want to maybe spend some time with their cohorts while they're here at BU. We'll talk a bit again about the varsity sports teams in a little while, but we also have club and intramural sports. So if you're not competing on the varsity level, you can still compete in a club or intramural sport, which is either against other students at other colleges or universities in the area or throughout the US. You could travel with your team. Or through just BU students and compete against other BU students. So whatever level you're comfortable with, we have many different sports teams on campus. But now that you're excited with all the amazing things going on, and a lot of that as well, I did move fast through it, is available on our website. And I have little QR codes there as we go. But now that you're excited, I want to give you just some tips and tricks through the application process because I am on the board of admissions. I do read applications. I'm actually our regional representative to Canada. So I not only do webinars, but I actually go in person to Canada, to high schools and college fairs to speak to students. And so I'm your go-to person on campus, and I'll likely be reading your application when you submit it to BU. So in general, just kind of the basics, we are a common application school. So we primarily use the common application. That includes essays and extracurricular or a resume list. And through the common application, you will also add your counselor information and your teacher's contact information. So your counselor and your teacher can write a letter of recommendation for you. I know that those extras are a little bit different than the Canadian application process. Many Canadian universities don't include essays or extracurricular activities or letters of recommendation. Some are now, but not all of them do. So it's a little bit different, but that gives you a lot of authorship through your application. You're really able to market yourself and put your best foot forward throughout the application process. So every essay, every free form field that you have, take a lot of care and thought and effort into those opportunities to put your best foot forward. So for example, in the extracurricular section, really tell us why you do the things that you do. Put the thing that you love the most at the very top of the list so that it stands out. It doesn't have to go chronologically or the thing that you spent the most amount of time in, but it really should be the thing that has impacted you the most. The thing that you care the most deeply about should be on your application. In terms of your transcript, when you apply, you'll send in a transcript for grades 9, 10, and 11. And then after the application deadline passes, you'll have an updated set of grades usually. That will be your midterm or mid-year grades. So that you'll be asked to send in what's called senior grades, or what's your grade 12 grades, which is that mid-year progress report. So you'll have a checklist that looks a little bit like the one here on a BU portal after you apply that will have this midterm report out there until you send that updated document to us. So after you apply, the process doesn't stop. You need to continue to check your email and check this portal so that you can send in these updates as needed. The other items might be the testing. So we are test optional for the SAT and ACT. Only about 50% of students sent in the SAT or ACT last year, and 50% of the students that we admitted sent in the SAT or ACT. So how important is it? It's really up to you and whether it's a good reflection of your academic ability and whether or not you want to send them in. We did not admit at a higher rate for students who sent in tests versus those who didn't. But if you have been able to take tests, and we know that it's still very difficult, but if you have been able to take them and you like your scores, you can report them on your common application. The other item of testing would be English proficiency. So if English is not your first language, we would recommend a test for the TOEFL, the IELTS, or the Duolingo English test. Recommended is a different word than optional. Usually when something is recommended in life, you should do it. Most of the non-native English speakers who apply to BU, even if they have been studying in an English environment like Canada, do send an English proficiency test along with their application because they can really do well with those English proficiency tests if they've been studying in English, and adding that great score to your application can only be a good addition to the application. So when it's recommended, we do recommend that you do that. And the other items for passport copy and financial documentation would be if you're going to study on an F1 or J1 visa in the US, or F1 status in the US, which many of you will. So you'll want to make sure that your passport copy is up to date, that you have a passport and that it's up to date if you're going to be studying in the US. And also with that financial documentation, it can take a little bit to work with your adult in the house or parent or sponsor to go to the bank and get that financial documentation. And so you'll want to do that sooner rather than later. You'll see the application deadlines that I have posted here. For the first year applicants, those are students who are applying directly from high school to university, their first year at university. And so there's early decision 1 and 2 and regular decision. Early decision is binding. You would agree that you would enroll at the university and withdraw all of the other applications that you've submitted anywhere else if you are admitted to BU. You do that because it's really your top choice institution. You don't want to go anywhere else. Who cares? You are only going to BU if you get in, and that's why you would apply early decision. Our early decision 1 deadline was November 1st. We are still accepting early decision 1 applications. That portal will be open until this Friday, which is this Friday. I forget what the date is of this Friday, but it's this Friday the 1st. So that window will be closing shortly. And then early decision 2, so if you are not able to apply early decision 1, then early decision 2 has a deadline of January 4th. Early decision 1 will have their decisions back by December 15th. Early decision 2 applicants will have their decisions back by mid-February. And then regular decision also has a January 4th deadline, but their students will receive their decisions in late March or the beginning of April. The most important deadline, though, that I really want you to pay attention to is the application deadline for scholarships. That's the trustee and presidential scholarship deadline, which is December 1st, which is also coming up very shortly. So December 1st, you need to submit your full application by December 1st to be considered for the presidential or trustee scholarships. For presidential scholarship, there's no extra steps. All you do is apply by December 1st. So, just try to squeak that in. And I would say, even if you just send in your common application now and you're still working with your counselor to send in your transcripts and teacher recommendations, that's okay. But try to at least send in the common application in the next couple of days and you can be considered for that presidential scholarship. The trustee scholarship is full tuition, so there is an additional step there. On the BU supplemental page of the common application, it will ask if you want to be considered for the trustee scholarship. If you select yes, an extra essay section will open up. It's a short essay, it's only about a page long, and it's a full tuition scholarship, so worth the extra effort to write that 1-page essay for that full tuition scholarship consideration. The extra deadline down there is for pre-screening recordings and for theater recordings, but we're talking about athletics. It's rare that I have an athlete and a musician go together, but if you are also a musician, then you might need to send in a pre-screen recording for theater or music. Because we do have a fine arts college that is theater, music, and the fine arts of painting, drawing, and sculpture. And so with that, I am going to turn it over to Laura and BU Athletics to talk about the varsity recruitment process.
Thank you, Monique. Hello, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Laura Flaherty. I am the Associate Director for Compliance in the Athletics Department at Boston University. I have been at BU for over 11 years, currently 9 years in my current role. And so within my role in the compliance office, I serve as a resource for our athletics department. I'm here to really provide a positive experience to our student athletes, provide guidance to them, to not only our student athletes, but also to our coaches and our athletic staff. Because I am responsible for informing all of those people to in our BU community of the NCAA rules and regulations that impact them. So the athletics department serves as a source of spirit and pride for campus. It's with roughly over 600 student athletes in our athletics department competing at the highest level of college athletics. And we, as athletics department institution sponsor 24 Division I varsity sports. And so most of our sports are members of the Patriot League Conference, and we've been a member of the Patriot League Conference for since 2013, and 20 of the 24 have competed under the Patriot League banner, while a few other sports, so men's and women's ice hockey teams are competing in the Hockey East Association. It's a very competitive conference. And then the men's rowing, women's lightweight programs compete annually within the Intercollegiate Rowing Association. So that's our overview of the sports that we sponsor at Boston University. Now I'm gonna briefly talk about our facilities and the facilities that we have on campus that our student athletes work out in, compete in. So the first one here, facility wise, the Fitness and Recreation Center, it's also known as FitRec. This is a space for students, for faculty, staff to work out in. BU offers over 400 credit and non-credit classes that are held here at FitRec. And in addition to taking classes, you can also participate. I know Monique hit on this a little bit, but you can also participate in intramurals and club sports as well. And within the FitRec Center, there is the competition pool. And that's where our swimming and dive programs, men's and women's swim and dive programs compete and practice. At this pool, the general student population does have access to it. Outside groups also have access to the pool as well. So that's the FitRec competition pool, and FitRec, also known FitRec Center as well. And then moving along, so moving up Comm Ave, we have Aganis Arena. This is home to our nationally ranked men's ice hockey program. In addition to having our home games here for men's ice hockey, Aganis also serves as a venue for entertainment events, concerts, comedy shows. But this arena is a lot of spirit and pride when our men's ice hockey team is playing and participating on ice. The next field, a very historic field on our campus, in the heart of our campus, as you can see, a lot of the tall dormitories are overlooking the field. It's a great view at night. Here is Nickerson Field is 107 years old, very, very old. It's currently home to the soccer and lacrosse programs. So our soccer and lacrosse programs compete here during the academic year. And then fun fact, if there are any baseball fans out there, Nickerson Field was home of the Boston Braves National League Baseball Club, and actually the site where Babe Ruth signed his last professional contract. So just a little fun fact there. And then a few more facilities right here. This one is another historic facility, is Walter Brown Arena. This opened on our campus for BU hockey in the early 70s. And then the women's program that started their inaugural season in 2005. And this is where they started to compete and have been competing since and practicing here as well. And then the men's team eventually moved to Aganis Arena. So this is solely for women's ice hockey, and one of the few on-campus venues in the country in collegiate sports that is dedicated solely to women's ice hockey. Great atmosphere when we are hosting our women's ice hockey competitions as well. So great arena, another historic one as well. The next one, continuing, is actually in the same building as the arena, is our Case Gym. As you can see, it's a basketball court. It's also known as the Roof, and has served home to our men's and women's basketball programs. It is a lively lively arena gym when we have our spirit squad performing. So we have members of the dance team present at our games, cheer team as well. We have our pep band performing, and of course our mascot as well will be at some games, not just basketball, but other sporting events as well. So like you see here is the gym is packed, and you can really feel, I've been in that gym many times, and you can really feel your seat moving when it's loud and lots of people cheering on. So it's a great atmosphere for cheering on our basketball programs. Again, we do have going through these facilities, we do have quite a few facilities, which is great. Makes our campus very unique, and having all these venues on campus, facilities on campus. So the next one here is more a new facility as of, it's been a while, actually. It's 10 years. It's crazy to say, but our New Balance field. So this is again on campus, and it serves home to our field hockey program, and it actually sits on top of a parking garage. So this is our field hockey New Balance field, and it's right next to our athletics department. So again, why our campus is so unique. Most of our facilities for our programs are on campus. You don't see that often. And so the next piece here, we go right down the street. Again, we're making our way down through Com Ave, at the tail end here, the Track and Tennis Center. This is also known as the TTC. It is known, considered by many, to be the fastest indoor track in the world. That is the truth, and the number of records set on it back up that claim. So in addition to, it acts as, again, we host quite a few track events, track meets at this venue, at our facilities throughout the winter. And then as well, we have other national competitions, other athletic events, fitness and university functions are also held here as well. And kind of in the brief history of when it opened, we have also served as annual host to the America East, which is another conference in Division I athletics, their indoor track championships. We've also hosted the New England Championships in another event called the IC4As. So as I went through the description of this facility, you can see that it is well known and very popular, being, again, one of the fastest indoor tracks in the world, which is great. And right next to the Track and Tennis Center is our softball field. So it serves home to our softball program, located, again, like I said, right across the street from our tennis center, Track and Tennis Center, as well as New Balance Field. We have been a very successful softball program here, and we've had quite a few conference title victories in the last 11 years as well. So that's our softball field. And then we're going to make our way across the river with our boathouse. So this is one of our very few facilities that are not on our campus, but it is a short walk across the BU Bridge along Com Ave, and then it's across the river, right located on Memorial Drive. So Memorial Drive is in Cambridge, most of it is in Cambridge. And so this is our facility. Again, as you can see, it's located on the Charles River. It is, I would say, up there with top 3 views of Boston if you're standing on the dock right there. And we this again serves as a facility for men's rowing, women's open weight rowing, and lightweight programs as well. And is the starting line for the Head of the Charles, which is the big event in the 3rd week of October, where all rowing programs come to the river and compete. So this facility, sorry, my fault, is beautiful, and it's just right on the river. And like I said, a great view of the city. So then we're going to go back across our way, back down Comm Ave and back towards our athletics department where I am. The athletics department has 3 floors. Bottom floor is coach's office, second floor is administration and coach's office, and then we get to the 3rd floor, which is our strength and conditioning center. This is where our student athletes engage in their weights and conditioning training workouts. We do have a small piece of turf that there are other type of testing and training goes on there as well. And then within the strength and conditioning center, we have our fueling station. This station is really aims to promote student athletes with access to nutritious items to nutrition. It also serves as educational area center through our partnership with Sargent College. So it's between athletics and Sargent College. Sargent College is one of the colleges on campus, programs on campus that you would be able to apply to. This allows our student athletes to engage with students who are on the brink of their nutritional careers. So Sargent students can gain like kind of hands-on experience in the field of sports nutrition before graduation. So this is our fueling station. So I first spoke about part 1 was the athletic side of things, talking about the number of sports we sponsor, the facilities that we have on campus. And the next piece is about being a student athlete. First is academics and then being an athlete. So I know it's kind of backwards, but we're going to talk about academic support right now and what we provide. So just like other schools throughout the country, we support the successes of our student athletes, academic success. We provide tutoring and access to academic advisors. This is our academic support center. It's available to all student athletes. There's study hall that is held in here, tutor sessions that are held in here. We are, as a athletics department, we are committed to our student athletes development in kind of the 5 major areas of academic excellence first, then athletic excellence, career development, personal development, and community service. So a lot of all these various components of our academic support are designed to kind of recognize and respond to the demands that student athletes face on a daily basis. So like I said, we offer academic services, the tutoring, the study hall, and then developmental programming on topics of other areas of student athletes are of importance to them. So other items that we have here, so that help our other program that we have in our athletics department. One is called the Bloom Family Leadership Academy. This is a selective leadership academy designed to equip our student athletes leaders with transferable skills. And kind of the progression curriculum. So where it starts begins with our freshmen learning about our BU community and then ends with our senior student athletes leading within their community. So we have 3 pillars, and the first one is person. And I'm going to talk about that because there were 3 groups that are on this slide that I wanted to talk about. So the pillar person focuses on the development of our student athletes, coaches, and staff. So this program supports the growth of the individual and team identity, promotes a positive culture. And so I'm going to talk about some of our person-focused initiatives. So the first one is Student Athlete Advisory Committee. This is a group of comprised of student athlete representatives of each team that provides Boston BU student athletes with opportunities to participate in community service, communicate with other student athletes, have a voice to athletics administration, and develop leadership skills. The next group, Athlete Ally. This was actually founded recently in 2017 our student-led chapter, so students are leading this group, fosters an inclusive environment for LGBTQIA plus student athletes and allies through four core pillars: community, visibility, education, empowerment. And then the last group here that I wanted to talk about is our student athletes of color. Their mission as this group is to foster an environment that ensures the opinions of students are valued, respected, and empowered. So they are driven to create spaces for such dialogue and empower others with knowledge. These three groups are great for us. And if you do decide to enroll at BU and become a student athlete here, I highly encourage being part of these groups. I can just see all the student athletes being part of this group, and it makes me smile and makes me really happy just to see what student athletes and where they go when they come here as a freshman, and then throughout their college career, and where they the extracurriculars that they are part of besides being an athlete here. So that's the other side of athletics. And then so I kind of wanted to briefly talk about, how do you get started? So you're a prospective student athlete, you're a prospective student, you are looking to play college sports. How do you get noticed by a coach? So for us, a lot of our coaches emphasize to recruits to reach out to them. You can reach out to them via email, by phone, but also another thing is to complete a sport-specific questionnaire. All of our questionnaires are on our website at goterriers.com. And so the questionnaires just have questions about, simple information: name, state where you're from, and then other information that specific sports ask within the questionnaire. So you fill that questionnaire out. For NCAA recruiting, so we're going through the process of being recruited. There are certain rules established by each division. So whether it is recruiting materials, letters being sent to you from coaches, written correspondence, receiving emails or text messages from coaches, getting a phone call, making a phone call, and then having those off-campus contacts with coaches, which is face-to-face, or making your visit to campus, whether it's an official or unofficial visit. But Division I has its own sets of restrictions about when a college coach can send materials, communicate, provide visits, and have contact with prospective students, with you. The NCAA rules governing the means and timing of recruitment vary by sport. So basketball versus ice hockey versus lacrosse, and softball versus all other sports. And that means like most, but not all sports, coaches cannot contact you until after your sophomore year in high school. So other sports, the contact window does not begin until fall of junior year, when that contact can start. And then to make things extra confusing, because why not? Just about every Division I sport operates on a different recruiting calendar, which means there are times during periods of time when coaches can have contact with you in person, off campus, versus evaluation periods when they can only be evaluating. They can't have any direct contact with you. And then during quiet periods when you can only come visit on campus. And then a totally different dead period when no recruiting contacts or evaluations of any kind can take place. So as you can see, it's very a lot of information with regards to recruiting and how that works and when that starts. But like I said, in most sports, but not all, coaches cannot contact you until after your sophomore year. So that's that piece. And then as you're continuing your recruiting process and what you need to do on the NCAA side of things, we have the NCAA Eligibility Center. So if you do want to play NCAA sport, Division I or II, you'll need to register with the NCAA Eligibility Center. There is a fee to pay to register. I always try to recommend that you plan to register during your freshman year of high school if you know that you want to play a college sport. Once you're registered, once you've paid, you'll receive a list of tasks that you have to complete in order to receive the required certification to compete and to practice. So it's athletic, academic certification needs to be final, and then your amateurism as well. There are specific deadlines to ensure that you have to adhere to that so that you are certified, like I said, to compete, to practice, to receive financial aid as well. So just kind of wrapping up here with the eligibility centerpiece, I always stress that it's better to register early, get your transcripts in as soon as you can, because as soon as they receive your transcript, your sixth semester transcript, which is after your junior year, they'll start your academic certification. So the faster you get that transcript in, the faster you'll be able to get cleared through the eligibility center, which helps my job a lot easier. So that's kind of the eligibility center piece. Kind of want to end with, if you want to learn more about our department, our programs, our facilities, you can go to our website at goterriers.com. I have my information, and I can provide that to Kimberly as well, to provide to you all. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Laura and Monique. We do have a few questions. If it's okay, I'm going to jump in. I have a few questions for you, Laura, that are centered on athletics and students. So let's start with the first one, coming from C Mart, watching us live. The first one is, can high school students reach out to a SAAC to get a sense of the college sport culture?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Can high school students reach out to SAAC to get a sense of the college sport culture? So it looks like there's just a question of, as a student, can I find out what's going on? What's it like to be there?
We don't have a direct, so yes, but we don't have a direct email. I have a contact in my office who leads I have a staff member that leads the student athlete advisory committee, that I can provide contact information just to get a sense. There's also more information on our website as well. And the student athlete athletic advisory committee is in every department, in the athletics department, not only in our campus, but other campuses as well. So it is throughout the country as well, in each athletics department. So you're able to get information on other schools, but also for our school, we have information on goterriers.com as well.
Outstanding. And Monique just posted that in chat. So if you are with us on Zoom, you'll see a link in chat where you can go straight to the goterriers.com website. Thank you so much for that one, Laura. Second question from same person, C-Mart. Are there any designated support for students with learning disabilities?
Yes, we do have a learning specialist in our athletics department. So we have those resources here in our department, but we also have resources down campus as well. We have a learning disabilities office as well on campus. So we are here to be a resource here in the department and help those students with whatever they need to succeed in the classroom.
Outstanding.
I'd just like to add that the Learning Disability Service Center is amazing. Their website has a ton of great resources on it. You do submit a form to apply for services for documented disabilities, but we also have an amazing educational resource center that any student can use that has free tutoring in any subject area. So it might just be how to do that particular equation, or it might be the entire math class that you want help with. And they're amazing, like a lot of availability. And Laura, I think, we've talked a lot too about the support that students have academically in athletics. I think it was our women's hockey team where their GPA was one of the highest in the nation. Like, was it like a couple of years ago? But like our students take immense pride with the work that they do, and no matter where you are in your academics, the university has a lot of resources to support you, and particularly through the athletics office with that liaison for students with disabilities, taking that additional support step.
Thank you for that addition, Monique. I want a couple more questions for you, Laura. Looks like a lot of the questions are centered around athletics. This one is, I'm gonna try to, I'm not sure I'm clear on this one, but I'm gonna ask it and make sure that we answer it for CMARC. I'm gonna start at the end. And due to the very demanding requirements in both their respective sport and academics, the question is, can athletes find out if certain academic programs will not admit athletes into their programs?
Great question. So with that, if you are being recruited by one of our athletic programs, you would work with the coach to gather and to send your transcripts to your coach. The coach would bring it to me and I would look at it as well. We do have a process where I am the liaison to the admissions office, the athletics liaison to the admissions office. And so I work with them, work on any of our prospective students that are planning or looking to apply, that are being recruited by our coaches. So I do work hand in hand with Monique and a few other staff members on the international side and also on the domestic side as well. So we work together as a team, and then I work with the coach as well on admissions, any admissions issues or anything that comes up with admissions in regards to prospective students.
Perfect.
Anything to oh, sorry, I was gonna say, Monique, anything to add there? I don't know if you wanted to chime in.
So the student's going to work very closely with the coach of what they want to study for their major, and that's all going to be discussed with the coach. And so for example, if you do want to be that theater major, that's going to spend a lot of time in rehearsal and might have a certain production schedule, the coach is going to talk about that in your soccer requirements and whether those two schedules fit well together. And it's not impossible that you could be a theater major and a soccer player together. It's just it's difficult and takes a lot of planning together. What the coach might also help recommend is if you would want to apply early decision or regular decision, what the best type of application plan for you might be. Or if you're interested in studying in business, do you want to apply directly to the business program, or would applying to economics be a better fit for you? Or would applying to the College of General Studies be a better fit for you? So the student's going to discuss all of their academic aspirations with the coach, and the coach is going to discuss it with Laura, who will discuss it with admissions, and we'll all confer together to make sure that we're making the best choices together for the students' plans.
Wonderful. Next question, again, still sports related. And this is coming from an Ontario high school's perspective. And the question is if the list of eligible courses is on the NCAA website.
Is that the
Yes,
question?
correct. Is the list.
There should be a list of approved core courses for the province you live in. So yes, it's through. There's also a NCAA International Student Athletes Guide. That is also on the NCAA Eligibility Center's website. You can access it without having an account, so it's accessible to the public. But yes, there should be approved core courses for your province in Canada listed there.
Wonderful. Two more athletics questions, then we'll jump over to you, Monique. We have some admissions related questions. And the next question for you, Laura, is how common are two-sport athletes at BU? So, for
Oh
example,
yeah, I think I
soccer and
saw
track and
soccer
field.
and track. Yeah. Um, I would say I, not common. I mean, is it I'm trying to think of like they have different schedules, different times of the year. Soccer's in the fall, track and field. So soccer starts in August and goes through we hope to go through December. We're not through the beginning of September. If you make it to the NCAA tournament for soccer. Track and field, you're kind of in your out of season until like mid-October, and then you go in season. And that's when the workouts are you have your coaches can require more of you during that time when you're in season. So track and field is starting in October, and then you have some of a break around the holidays, and then you're back on campus in January. Where for soccer, when they're with their spring season, they're back on campus for the start of the spring semester, but they don't start workouts until when they're in season again until the end of February. So it kind of varies sport to sport. So in the different seasons of whatnot. So hopefully I answered that question correctly.
Yeah, the answer is not common. So the question was how common are, and due to the demands and the schedules, it looks like the
Yeah,
answer is they are not common.
yeah, yeah.
A two-sport
Yeah.
athlete. And leading into that, there's a follow-up question from the same person, which is Jason, and he wants to know what are the recruiting contact periods for soccer and track and field?
To jump into the
So,
last
oh yeah,
question, though,
go
I
ahead,
just
Monique.
want to say we do have a lot of athletes that do varsity athletes that participate on some of the other like club or intramural sports teams. My favorite is a track and field player, runner, who is the snitch on the Quidditch team for BU. So that's the person that runs around in all gold trying not to get caught. And so they're one of our track and field stars. So there's a lot of different ways that you can combine your athletic passions together. But go ahead for
Love it,
the
snitch.
recruiting periods question.
Yeah. Yeah, so the time of periods of when our coaches can make some recruiting contacts. So for soccer, uh, for men's soccer, it's mostly recruiting periods are through the fall, and there's one dead period when in November that already happened, and then they have another dead period where they can't go recruiting in December. But other than that, the recruiting periods happen after that as well. So January through and summer is obviously the big time period of when they start their contact periods, their recruiting off campus at specific events. Track and field, mostly recruiting during there's the fall, and then they also have a dead period in December, part of December, part of January. But again, the summer is where you're going to see most of our coaches on the road recruiting at specific meets and games.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Laura. Let's jump
Thank
over
you.
to a few admission questions while we have a few minutes left. First question up for you, Monique, is how would you describe the diversity of cultures on campus?
Yeah, so the diversity on campus is something that we absolutely cherish. It is really a cornerstone of our community in this vibrant city of Boston, which is an international hub in and of itself. It is the top 3 destination in the US for students coming internationally. And again, BU is number 8 on Open Doors for the most international students on a US campus. 30% of our students are minorities or people of color, 23% of our students are international students, 19% of our students are first generation or the first in their family to go to university. And about another 19% of our students are Pell eligible students. So all those kind of numbers paint a little chart of equity, inclusion, diversity, belonging. That's really a cornerstone, again, of our campus community. A big hotspot for community and for, really some hard-hitting conversations, and as we approach some tough social issues, is the Howard Thurman Center on campus, which is really in the very epicenter of our campus, and it's a very special space. So for students interested in learning about diversity and community on campus, the Howard Thurman Center would be the best place to start in your Google search.
Wonderful. We did have a question on if international students, Canadian students can work on campus. And Monique, you did answer that question kind of behind the scenes. And the answer was yes, F1 students can work on campus. Did you want to add anything additional to that?
Yeah, so absolutely. We have a lot of different work opportunities on campus for students, whether it is a part-time job that you want to have alongside your academic program, and whether it is just in refereeing some of these soccer games and for the club and intramural sports, or you want to work in the library, or you want to work in a marketing department for one of the many offices on campus and get some marketing or communications experience in a field that you study, for example. You can absolutely do that on campus. As an F1 visa holder, you can work for Boston University or any of our affiliate companies without cutting into your visa OPT or CPT time. That's a little too much information, TMI. But you can work for university on your F1 visa. And the International Students and Scholars Office, if you work for someone outside of Boston University, will help you with that process for your visa allowances on an F1 visa.
Wonderful. The questions are still coming in. We have about 4 minutes left, but I want to ask these questions because they're really good. The first one is from CMAR. Again, can a high school student ask questions to admissions or academic advisors when trying to figure out which program would be a best fit with his or her sport commitment when they're getting ready to apply?
Absolutely. So again, talking to your coach about the best major for your sports commitment is really like the first stop, is talking to the coach. But if you wanted to talk to an admissions advisor about the program itself, what it entails, if you want to talk to the academic department or a faculty about the particulars of that major and the nuances that you study, they're more than happy to speak to prospective students. They'd love to hear your questions. So you can get in contact with me through my email or through the admissions office. If you wanted to speak to a current student about their program, like you want to be an engineer and want to talk to an engineer about their day in the life, email visit@bu.edu, and that is our student representatives at our visitor center, visit@bu.edu, and they'll connect with you there to give you all the details.
Perfect. One yes, no question, then a question about the money. And I have one final question for both of you, and we'll wrap this thing up. The yes, no question: can international students take summer classes on campus?
Yes, they can. And high school students, because I'm sure this is where the question is, international high school students, can you? Yes, absolutely. And there's a couple different types of summer programs. There's short little like dip your toe in the water programs and other challenge programs where you're actually taking a course for college credit that is transferable. So bu.edu/summer. Really easy to remember, bu.edu/summer is where you'll find information about all of those summer programs.
Gotcha. Last question, and that's about the money. And I'm sure, Monique, you can probably drop a link for this, but JD Kim's asking how much are tuition and fees approximately? I think we covered that a little bit earlier, but maybe you just want to drop a link to find out where the information can actually be found. And while Monique is doing that, Laura, I want to bounce over to you. You provided us with some outstanding information. I really loved your presentation on the facilities. You did a very thorough job. I definitely want to get to that boathouse whenever I can, so I can see that view. But if there's anything that you could share about Boston University, the one thing that just sticks out to you, that stands out and makes it the place that you want to be and that you think students and athletes and non-athletes should show up at, what would that thing be?
Um, Great question. So for me, I think I'm biased because I do work in the athletics department, so I'm gonna be it's based on my experience in the athletics department, but seeing our student athletes when they get here and throughout their college career, um, not only seeing them on the field, on the court, on the ice, but also seeing how academically um, successful they are, and how I can see them achieve their goals and help them succeed their goals by whether it's me attending a athletics event, or simply answering one of a questions that they have, like if there's a compliance question. Um, and so I think just being able to come to campus, if you are looking to come to campus, you'll have resources, you'll have people like Monique, like myself, to help you succeed and help you beyond BU as well to achieve your goals here and also in your career.
So much, Laura. And Monique, same question to you. What stands out to you at BU?
We have students who are really top cream of the crop students from all around the world who want to engage at an incredibly high level with each other, with other top students, and really lift each other up and elevate each other. They're incredibly open-minded. They want to hear your background story. They want to learn from one another. And they really want to, have a positive impact on the community and on the world around them, and especially on one another in the time that they have together here at BU. And I think that commitment to each other and that commitment to their passions is something that really makes our students stand out.
There you have it. It's all about the people. It's all about the staff, the students. If you are looking for a place that caters to the people, if you're looking for a place that did it first, you're looking to study abroad, or if you're even looking to have that top 3 view in Boston from the
Mhm.
boathouse like me,
Mm.
definitely consider giving Boston University a look. Thank you for joining us on this episode, and we look forward to seeing you on our next College Tracker show. Have a great day.